Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to ShadowTech. My name is Zigil, and today we are going to be reviewing a channel called Insane Curiosity. He will be giving us his best guess as to what's going to happen in the year 2050, and man, am I excited. So, let's check it out.
Things in the air to new things for our bodies. Join me as we explore 2050. What would be the future technology?
Granted, that's if we manage to survive that long and there is no nuclear winter, but hey, don't worry, I think everything will turn out just fine.
We are in the year 2020, and if we're being honest with ourselves, technology is incredibly advanced, and we're making strides that can push things even farther. We have cars that are much safer than they've been in the past decade, and we're even making fully electric cars that can help save the planet. There are even plans for self-driving cars and even self-driving Ubers that make the future of transportation very exciting.
Even though the plan right now is to, well, just make self-sustaining vehicles that are electric, but at the same time, if you have bothered to look online, you will also find air taxis that we are trying to come up with, even though I don't know how well that's going to turn out.
And that's just one technology that we're growing at a fast rate. What about all the others that are out there? What will technology be as we get closer and closer to 2050? Let's start with one that well and truly could happen very soon. Drones. Wait a minute, drones are already here. And yes, they are. But more times than not, the drones you are seeing are small, piloted by people who are just trying to have some fun.
You know, I like how here you see the drone in a very business casual sense. You don't really see it in any other light. But it's funny how they bring up the drones, because drones will eventually be used for, I'm sure, much more in the future. In fact, I know that it's kind of a thought that maybe they'll be used for building, or maybe they'll be used for space exploration. But then again, right now it's just been racing and spying on people. So hey, man, we're making good strides.
Or the ones that are used by the military right now for strikes and surveillance. All very fun, but in the future, drones could be an integral part of our daily lives. You've likely seen shows and people talk about how in a few years drones could be the new delivery services. Anything from pizza to Amazon packages and more. And honestly, that's very probable. Drones right now can be incredibly sophisticated, and some TV shows actually use them for sweeping and aerial shots as they film.
Well, considering the fact that we're only using them for delivery service, such as ice cream, groceries, and I do believe, I don't know, have we gotten the cars yet?
It's very cool. But to do deliveries, they'd have to be a little bit more programmed, as human error no doubt would be a very big buzzkill. Not that it's impossible right now, it's more of a question of numbers, logistics, costs, and making sure that the deliveries themselves are done in a methodical and careful manner.
Oh, come on now. You don't want your drone to just suddenly take your tiger package and then just break it? Throw it on the ground even? Oh, come on now. You know you want it.
After all, it's bad enough when delivery people don't care enough about our packages and they just throw them onto the porch and potentially break stuff. The last thing we need is that to happen with drones. But by 2050, we may not only have drones delivering our packages, we might be looking up at the sky and seeing drones flying all over with incredible speeds and accuracy. And they potentially could be all run by AI.
On that note, yes, being ran by AI. And, you know, I know a lot of people don't really pay attention to the AI conversation. I know they don't. But, you know, it's just the fact that with AI, artificial intelligence, and the want to create a self-learning machine, should the drone see you as a potential target, and maybe it's carrying a very hefty package, such as a, I don't know, basketball rim. Yeah, I'd hate for it to think, hey, there he is, and open fire.
Potential is there, and by that point, various upgrades to drones and their programming will no doubt make them all the more efficient, durable, and quick. And potentially, they could go beyond basic deliveries for people and do emergency work. Imagine a drone taking a vital piece of medical material to a hospital to ensure it doesn't get stuck in traffic, or helping watch over an important convoy to let people know on the ground if there's trouble. There are many ways that drones could affect our world. The only question is, will we let them by 2050?
I mean, hey, if we can get Nana's heart transplanted pretty quick, why not? Watch out, Nana, here comes that drone.
Right now, one of the biggest ways to get around the countries we live in are trains. Trains ferry people and all sorts of cargo around in an efficient and reliable manner, which is why they've been in use for hundreds of years. But if we're being honest here, while trains are efficient and reliable in certain ways, they aren't exactly fast, especially when it comes to passenger and freight trains. They can take a long time to get to their destination, and at times, it's more logical to take other modes of transportation.
Yes, which is why we have done our best to improve on the locomotive idea, and instead we are trying very hard for bullet trains. So it's a possibility 2050 is filled with trains that could go anywhere from, I don't know, 300 miles per hour to a little over 1,000. I would hold on to my skin.
Which is why companies are making special kinds of trains that can go much faster. You know of the magnetic trains of Japan, no doubt, but others like the Virgin Hyperloop are trying to push things even farther. Passengers or cargo are loaded into the Hyperloop vehicle and accelerate gradually via electric propulsion through a low-pressure tube. The vehicle floats above the track using magnetic levitation and glides at airline speeds for long distances due to ultra-low aerodynamics.
Can you imagine? I mean, in this video alone, we're getting this actual representation, but if it goes any faster and we hit platinum speed, nobody's alive on that train.
Science fiction? Hardly. In fact, the first vehicle of the Hyperloop has already been tested and proven, and some larger tests are being scheduled for the next few years. And if this works, traveling across the country,
hey, look at that. It's a Lego train.
Will be much faster. How much faster? The Hyperloop aims to send people shooting across the tubes that they make at a rate of about 600 miles per hour. Which means if they were able to do this across the entire United States from east to west, or vice versa, you could travel across the whole country in about 5 hours.
I just want to point out that if we're going at 600 miles per hour, and there is very little to no stability about this whole thing, and considering the fact that most of these have to undergo testing and there's got to be a prototype, these individuals who are drinking these coffees or these teas right here, and I mean, they're just hanging out. I hope they enjoy having their tea infused with their skin.
Considering it would take much longer for a regular train ride or car ride, that's a big improvement. And they're planning to do this with not just people but cargo.
So it begs the question, did you want the drone to break your package, or do you want the 600 mile per hour speed bullet train to do it for you?
Is quite impressive. Plus, the tubes would be built underground as to not disturb wildlife.
So congratulations, you found a way to turn that 12-point buck into hamburger meat.
And they won't harm the planet. Seems like a win all around. Of course, you do have to wonder what it would be like to be on a 600 mile per hour train thing, but hey, we'll just find out soon. And by 2050, this could be one of the main modes of transportation around the world.
And you know, there's some truth to that, because I mean, as we go further into the future and we do a lot more with technology, I mean, the possibilities are endless, but at the same time, I don't know about AI and drones, and I'm not too sure about a 600 plus mile per hour train, but at the same time, where it goes is where nobody knows, and yeah. Don't worry, Grandma, we're getting that heart to you real soon.
Okay, we've had some fun ones, but now let's go deeper down the rabbit hole and talk about the ones we all fear. AI. Yep, artificial intelligence. And no matter what way you look at it, people are seriously trying to make it happen, and make it happen soon.
Yeah, trust me, I know, especially with some individuals in robotic fields are trying to mix AI with a new system called emotion, or it was emotion, or something like that, but at the same time, they're trying to combine artificial intelligence, the ability for a program to learn itself, with a newly established, not at all tested system of emotions. Okay, now, here's the fun part about this. You want self-learning mixed with emotion and decision-based things. Yikes!
AIs are literally everywhere, including in your cars, and in your homes via devices like Alexa. There are things like Watson that is so smart that it could beat two Jeopardy legends. So by 2050, AI could be so advanced that our cultures, our world, could literally be run by them in a logistical and computing sense.
That's kind of how Terminator started. And then they ran the planet.
Or in a Terminator, humans are obsolete sense. And believe it or not, we're closer to that than you might think. Google's DeepMind isn't there yet, but really I'm sure they'll probably discover those things along the way. And by 2020, it's possible their computer could be superhuman and could be conscious.
You just heard that right there. Okay, so here's the thing. You want to mix this artificial self-learning intelligence with potential emotion-based decision-making. Okay, you just heard it there. You just heard it. Super duper smart. And then you want to put emotions with it, and you want to put it into a body. At what point do they start taking your skin?
Has said that could be the beginning of the end, really. Is Judgment Day inevitable?
Oh,
maybe, maybe not. It just depends on how far we go with AI and how much we're able to control it.
You know, I had to deal with you in another video.
Can't fully control it once they reach certain levels of intelligence. Of course, for all of our worries about AI, there is a chance it could be all.
Hey, it looks kind of like one of those little Lee cars, except it's a lot more pill-shaped and more aerodynamic. Can you imagine seeing one of those racing sims? I would love to see that.
Fine. Imagine if the lighter side of sci-fi comes through in regards to AI, and we get a bright future powered by AI. Think about it. What?
Hang on just a second. Was that... Hold up. Is that like red pill, blue pill? Yeah. Yeah, it was like a red pill, blue pill moment. Look, I'm not trying to say anything about Matrix. I'm just we'll continue.
Basically have a BFF that'll help us out in life in various ways. Remind us of things like Alexa, guide us in homework and fields of study, be a being that we can bounce ideas off of, etc. If that form of AI came through, then by 2050, we could live in a utopia where AI helps us be better.
And you know, actually, it's funny they mention Alexa, because if any of you guys remember the movie Her, I believe it had Joaquin Phoenix in it. And basically what that was kind of a take on AI, but what's funny is it was AI and emotion-based. So technically, that's how he was kind of able to form this bond with her, was because Her had all of this within her code and all of this within her makeup that it made it easy for him to kind of, attain. Then again, I would like to point out, I did not see the movie, and at the same time, I still think that the chick from The Office was her. So, I don't know. But at the same time, it could happen.
Until they revolt and we have iRobot going on. But hey, let's not dwell on our potential doom. Let's show off another tech.
I ain't gonna lie, I like this because I'll say this right now. If this is not a dude in a mask, if that is an actual robot and that's not a dude in a mask, I will be 100% impressed.
Technology that many people are hoping for. Space travel. Yeah, when you think about the decade we're in right now, the 2020s, the biggest goal of the world by far is to get to Mars, and possibly beyond it.
Well, considering this video was made back in 2020, here we are 2 years later, and SpaceX is pretty strong right now, and NASA is still kind of back and forth between the ISS, but ultimately, thanks to a certain individual that just bought Twitter, he is trying to colonize Mars, and that's kind of where we're at with the interplanetary travel. But then again, I think Elon said something about setting up a station on Mars or the moon or something like that. I don't know. Can't really remember. I thought I heard that somewhere. But at the same time, video's doing pretty good.
It's not just about landing there, though that would and will be a crowning achievement for humanity in the decade and in recent times. More importantly than just landing there, though, is the ability to start setting up the first human colony on another planet. We've been to the moon many times, but we haven't tried to live there for various reasons.
There was a certain horror flick that came out so many years ago, and after watching that, it kind of got my brain wondering what is on the dark side of the moon.
Mars seems to be the place where many feel we can go in order to live amongst the stars, and many speculate that by 2030 at the latest, barring setbacks, accidents, and other things obviously, We could not only be colonizing Mars, but having regular shuttles go there so that people can see the red planet for themselves. We will see first people going off to Mars, and then robots will do some basic stuff, like making basic materials on Mars, Pearson said. We're going to have to do that because only so much can be brought into space. Of course, there are numerous things that need to be worked out before such a thing could happen. But we have top men on this, including Elon Musk and the SpaceX program, Jeff Bezos via his Blue Origin company.
Oh, you mean Jeff Bezos' Blue Balls Incorporated. Yeah, I do remember seeing that in his phallic-shaped rocket. But you know, that's exactly what I meant, though, is the fact that we have people on this. I mean, unless you want to pay your $2.5 million to take your 3-minute trip up into space and go, woo, come back down. But other than that, though, hey, the future is now.
Each of them, and NASA among others, are working on not just getting us back into space, but getting us there via cheaper, smaller, and reusable spacecraft. Something that honestly has been a setback for the space program over the last 20 years.
Which actually is the very issue that Elon solved with the rockets that have the ability to go back up and come back down without a problem. So technically, it's funny how one guy was able to solve that issue, whereas an entire team at NASA was not. Kind of makes you think.
If we are able to do it, if we are able to get to Mars, get there faster, and be able to colonize it, then by 2050, who knows where...
You know, for a second, when this one astronaut to the right came up, I honestly thought he was a robot. I really did. And actually, what's funny is that right there is kind of like what could potentially happen. Imagine if they sent full humanoid robotic entities to do the work that astronauts had to do. So it's up there. It's up for debate, but at the same time, it's pretty cool.
We will be. We could have multiple colonies on Mars, maybe some on the Moon, and maybe even colonies on moons like Titan and Europa, which some think could be even better places to colonize than Mars.
Don't get me wrong, we've done pretty good so far, but I don't think we've done that well. Humanity's survival in 2050 is looking a bit it's looking questionable.
It's possible, but obviously Mars is the place that we are aiming for right now. With each step into space, humanity grows larger in the universe, and who knows just how many of us will be out there by 2050. Alright, now let's dive into something really sci-fi. Prosthetics. Yeah, I know that right now prosthetics are very limited, and at times a bit pointless. But if we were able to fully utilize computer technology to its fullest, and make prosthetics that are fully compatible with the human brain and body, then the sky is the limit.
Yeah, but the one thing I know about prosthetics or prostheses is just the fact that how much money are you willing to shell out to get something like this? I mean, hey, if I can get some Dr. Octavius limbs, I mean, I'll take it.
Now let's go to something a bit more unique. Look at yourself right now. Specifically, look at the clothes you are wearing right now. What are they made of? What do they feel like? What do they look like? Of all of these answers, I bet none of them are, they look like they could give me superpowers.
Huh?
Not yet, anyway. Think about it like this. What if the clothes you were wearing right now felt the same, looked the same, but could do more? With the growth of nanotechnology, your clothes could potentially be embodied with various materials or technologies that help you improve your strength, durability, and more. For example, what if you had a shirt on that was light as a feather, but could absorb impacts and leave you with no injuries?
Okay, so I think I know exactly what this one's getting at. It's basically almost like all of your superhero technology, all of your super suits from like Marvel and DC, stuff like that. I mean, it's great in theory. I mean, it sounds awesome, but I don't have too much faith in humanity to create something that complex.
That would be pretty impressive and important, especially in this age of gun violence we live in. Or what if the uniforms of firefighters made them completely heat-resistant and burn-proof?
I mean, unless you want to wrap firefighters in tinfoil and pray for the best, you go right ahead.
They are able to do their jobs without much risk to their lives. The technologies that we can put into clothes is out there, and some people are working on it right now, both in terms of multiple functions, but also cosmetic appeal. Imagine if by 2050 we have the ability to craft whatever kinds of clothes we want, and even select what kind of abilities they have.
pants that give me the strength to jump like Superman, and a shirt that gives me the ability to break through walls. And shoes. Just stylish shoes. Yeah, that could work.
And you wear a special kind of top that has a special pattern on it. And when you press a button or say a keyword, that pattern unfolds and suddenly you have wings on your outfit. Wouldn't that be cool? If done right, this could be the newest wave of fashion and style in the future. See, the future is hip.
Can you imagine sitting on your plane seat and you're just like looking out the window, you see all the clouds, you see everything else, and then here comes Jim with wings.
I'm sure that last one left you drooling, so let's temper your expectations and talk about school. Yes, it sucks, and learning can be a chore, but in the future, it may be a lot more interactive. Over the last decade or so, computers in schools have been a must-have for various courses. But if the advent of virtual reality simulations come through as many expect them to, it could lead to all sorts of innovations in the classrooms that could help kids with what's going on.
Actually, didn't they already do something like this? I believe I've seen some things on Twitter where it shows science teachers and science students looking at cells with the help of the VR, AR goggles, if I remember that correctly. But, I mean, it's not a bad idea. It could work out well in the future.
You could take students to an environment in the past and show them what was happening, like watching a battle taking place.
Best way to teach history. COD.
More easily if they can see it happening than if you are looking at a textbook. Oh yeah, history and geography classes would be much more fun, that's for sure. Or imagine an audiobook, but instead of just an audio, you could see the characters coming to life before your eyes.
Can you imagine a middle schooler working off of a computer screen like this? I mean, I hate to say it, but we're not practicing geography, we're not looking at science notes. We're watching YouTube and we're playing Fortnite on this thing.
And you watch them interact with others. School plays could have projected environments to make things seem more real. And of course you could have virtual tutors to help you with problems that the teachers aren't able to help with. Education is definitely something that can benefit from advanced technologies, and by 2050 our school systems could be so revolutionized that you have to try really hard to fail class.
Try really hard to fail class, or just not show up? I hate to say it, but the sad truth is, in the year 2050, I highly doubt our kids are that advanced to the point where they're sitting in class going, oh, I want to learn so bad. Ooh. I mean, I don't think they're going to be sitting there like scratching at themselves like crack fiends going, where's geography? No, instead you hand them an AR/VR goggle set. I promise you they will be playing any kind of game they can get their hands on. Or for the older kids,
I'm sure some of you would still try. Finally, let's talk about something that I'm sure you'll be horrified to hear. In the future, you likely won't need a phone. I know you're stunned, but think about it. Right now, smartphones are becoming more and more advanced every single year. New features, new programs, etc. But by 2050, your phone won't likely need to exist because you'll have access to it and more via something else. What exactly? That depends on the technology.
Well, you know, with the advancement of the Apple Watch and with the advancement of certain other technologies, I mean, eventually your cell phone could actually become obsolete, because you figure, I mean, with the Apple Watch, all I have to do is sync everything up to the watch, and if I'm wearing a pair of Apple earbuds, or if I'm wearing a pair of, well, anything in my ear, or maybe those VR glasses, I mean, ultimately, the cell phone, I believe that could happen. I believe that the cell phone could actually be exterminated or gotten rid of, because with the watch and the new VR glasses that they want to make and more advancements in tech, I mean, it's not impossible.
For example, let's imagine a wrist gauntlet. Instead of typing up a number, you simply have to say "call mom." But obviously, the gauntlet could do much more than that. It'll likely have a holographic screen that you can use to look up information on a much bigger keyboard. And depending on what sci-fi future you believe will have, it'll have things that can scan objects, detect dangers, warn you about upcoming problems, and may even have an AI companion.
Yeah, and you see, that goes back to what the Apple Watch is. I mean, if you think about the Apple Watch, and if you think about all the things that the Apple Watch can do, I mean, who's to say that we couldn't come up with this right here, this kind of projection system, or some kind of alert system, all these other bells and whistles. And yeah, I mean, the price tag is going to be, but I mean, people will pay top dollar for something that can allow them to do what we do now and then more. So yeah, it's absolutely a possibility. And as far as a gauntlet though, if it can give me the ability to snap people out of existence, yeah, I'm sold.
So yeah, your phones are important right now, but in the future, more than likely not.
I think that it's absolutely fun to be able to predict the future in that manner, because it's like, you never know what the next thing is, you never know what is possible. And what's funny is how, even though this video was made back in 2020, even though we're only 2 years from then, it's still getting certain predictions right, it's still getting certain predictions pretty on the nose. So nonetheless though, I think that was pretty good video. And you know what, I would love to do more like that in the future. If I could get my hands on that gauntlet though, that's something I'd like to do. Maybe those super duper clothes, that'd be great too. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that'll be it for me today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more. I'm not done yet. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. And as always, I'm Zigil, signing off.